let's say glucose is sugar, right? So whenever you eat anything that contains carbohydrates will break it down as what we call glucose, right? So if glucose is sugar, then it's a hormone that regulates blood sugar levels. It's insulin, right? So life sciences. Okay, so I'm a dietitian. I work at Dr. Pixley, Department of Health. So today we are going to just delve a bit. Just think 10 minutes will be fine for me. I hope putting nutrition and egg. The relationship between nutrition and academic performance, right? So academic performance doesn't just rely on you were born obviously there's an aspect of genes, there's aspect also of hard work, and also there's aspect of effectiveness that is produced by how you eat. So that one is also important if we want to be efficient and effective in our studies, right? Saying we didn't about energy drinks and all that. And it's when you're drinking energy drink, you want to be more effective, right? So the food has also that effect of making you to be more effective when you are studying, but we're still going to touch on even those things of our energy drinks. So what we'll cover today, these are things that we will cover. You can just take a look, but this is a figure. Right. So nutrition and the brain. Right. So whenever we eat, I spoke a bit about carbohydrates, right? So we said your carbohydrates. What are the examples of carbohydrates? Food. Maybe you can lift up your hands if you want to talk. Yes, my brother. Potatoes. Yes, rice. Yes, pudding. Cabbage. A little bit of carbohydrates, not that much. What else is bread, right? So when you talk about carbohydrates, we are talking about the fuel that you need for what? For energy, right? So we see that 20% of the body energy in the day is used by your brain. In other words, your 20% is eaten by what? It's taken by the brain, right? So that means if you are not going to have enough of ukudla, that means you are going to brain won't be that effective, right? Hope you understand that. So if we are not that, if we don't take enough of the fuel that we need, about 40% of concentration will be taken away, especially when you skip things like your breakfast. I'm going to say to a breakfast is the most important meal of the day, because a breakfast will provide starch, which in turn produces glucose or carbohydrates, which will then be the fuel of what? Of your brain. Right? And you should schooling. What do you need at school? You need your brain. Right? So yeah. And then again we have a mineral that we call iron. I'll just skip through yes, in the book we're going to cook some of the stuff, right? So the iron is a mineral that helps a lot. So the iron it helps with the cognitive cognitive development. So if you are lacking with iron, you will have impairment with cognitive development, right? Okay. So do you know iron? Yes. What is iron? Maybe give me an example of iron. Yes, please. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a sign of iron deficiency. Yes, it's a sign of short down. I just wanted an example of a food that contains iron. Yes, put it. Spinach, right? So those things there are very, very important. So maybe bazovele bamemeze nje ukuze siqhubeke kahle, right? So so key nutrients that you need for brain performance. Number one, we spoke about glucose, which comes from complex carbs. We're still going to touch on that. We have iron as well, and we have omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3, omega, they come usually from the fish, right? Yes, come from fish, it comes from nuts, right? Then you have B vitamins, you have things like your zinc as well. Okay, so a balanced plate for diet for academic performance, right? So the balanced plate, if we say it's a balanced plate, what we actually mean is that your diet must be balanced. That means it must have all the food groups. So it must have all the food groups. So our food groups that we have protein, we have carbohydrates, we have vegetables, we have fruits, we have what? Fats. Yeah. So we need all those combined so that we actually accomplish all these things. Okay. So the carbohydrates we have carbohydrates, we call them alapama grains. And it's usually it's 1.5. It's a quarter of the plate. If it's 1/4, that means it's a quarter of the plate, right? So usually Pelaniti, we usually have a large amount of rice, small amount of veggies. But you see there with our veggies and fruit, they take half of the meals, right? Because that's where we get the vitamins, that's where we get most of the minerals as well. Okay, so maybe let me just scan through these. So we have whole grains, which are carbohydrates, or you can call them starch, right? So what we need from these, we need a slow release of energy, which will keep our focus and stamina steady throughout the school day. So I'm a whole grain. Siyawazi said upu isinkwa siyamazambane angithi says is pasta angithi. So with those things, what we need more of fiber, right, in those things. So we don't need a starch acid refined. Angithi abantu makwenziwa starch basi refine uthi mhlambe bakhiphe like wheat bashiye maybe just ilokuzana the remains. Oshuthi makuthiwa mhlambe they've removed the fiber. Do you know the fiber? Maybe it's a number phambi. Do you know the fiber uthi fiber is roughage. What is fiber? It's a roughage that you get in your meals. So there are examples here of fiber. Isn't there fiber? You happen to have all bread instead of your cornflakes, because cornflakes have been refined. Mawudla ama-cornflakes uyashesha ukulamba. So what you need ukudla okuzowenzenjani okuzokulasta mhlawumbe at least till 12 o'clock mawudle breakfast. So those are things like your all bran flakes, those are things like your oats, those are things like your maltabella, right? You know those are things like your brown bread instead of white bread. Because if you got white bread, what will happen is that ukudla kwakho uzoshesha and then usuke from your intestines ungene into your bloodstream uphule ushukela yabo. And then after that it also mawusukhuphukile kakhulu uzophinde wehle, then you then lose the energy, right? Then again you have your vegetables and your fruits. So in the vegetables and our fruits, I hope you know our vegetables and our fruits. So you get vitamins, you get antioxidants, you get the fiber as well, right? Then you also have your lean protein. So inyama has protein. Then get lean protein you mean that means your fat has been removed in. So it's now lean. Then you also have your dairy products. So you know dairy products will be, you see cheese, you see those things that are from dairy products, and yogurt. So they help with calcium and vitamin D. So all these things that I'm mentioning here, they help with the brain. And then healthy fats as well, omega-3 fish, nuts, avocado are essential for your memory and the brain structure, right? Okay, so there are healthy eating habits here for teenagers, right? I mean, so get us a teenager. Yes. So if you are a teenager, so it helps you to eat breakfast every day. As we said, you need guys. We're not here to sleep, right? Okay. Cool. Okay. So we say eat breakfast every day. What else do we need? Is that you drink 6 to 8 cups of water daily. Now, this is the thing about the brain. The brain is made up of water, right? Maybe 7% of the brain is water. So if you are going to be dehydrated, that means your memory, your performance, your mood is going to change, right? So that's why I told them they are always angry at school. They're always angry at teachers, always angry at everyone, because they are sometimes the way they eat, the way there is a brain fog in their brains, right? I hope you understand. So and then also you choose whole grain bread instead of white bread. We've spoken about that. Include protein at each meal. So what protein? You said it's eggs, you said it's beans, you said it's fish, you said it's chicken, beef as well, right? In all your meals. So you understand that. Then again we have snacking. So a snack is when you say into that snacks we speak about things that you eat in between your meals. So and then you eat at regular intervals. So don't take cut a seed there without eating. So we understand that. Yeah, so the Mabel attendees, I just tell them they must allow you to eat. Yeah. Okay. All right. So things that we need to avoid, guys. So the things that we need to avoid. We need to avoid skipping breakfast and other meals. So don't skip your meals: breakfast, lunch, and supper. is very, very important. Also, don't rely on energy drinks and cool drinks. So we see, as we spoke, Ubud was speaking here, we should not rely on energy drinks, right? So instead of energy drinks, what usually helps Ubud is water, right? So water helps. Because sometimes you think you are tired and you are dehydrated, right? So it helps to actually continually hydrate. So so avoid eating large amounts of fast foods and fried foods, right? I hope you understand that. Avoid eating sweets and snacks and chips and biscuits. Avoid going a long period without eating, right? Maybe we can go past that. Okay, so there we have nutrition and mental well-being. So in mental, it has to do also with your brain. It deals with many things. Your mood as well is also included. Like how we mental. Ungafunda ucasuke ungekho right. You think you'll be effective? No, you won't be effective. If you are grumpy, you will not be effective. So that there is a connection here between gut, it means large and small intestines, with your brain, right? So there's a connection that is there. So it helps it affects how you feel, it affects how you think, it affects how you cope with stress. So and then we have maybe there are things that we spoke of here, which is serotonin and gut health. So serotonin is also a hormone that is responsible for your mood, responsible for your sleep as well. So if you don't sleep well, you are not going to be effective. So you understand. So in life, there are important things like your food and sleep. Those things are very, very important. So because they help you to be effective when you are awake, right? So 90% of the serotonin is produced in your gut. So in other words, what you eat will affect how you feel, right? Then you have things like your sugar. So as in a high amount of sugar, they affect how we feel, the mood swings, right? So high sugar intake causes blood glucose spikes and crashes, leading to irritability, anxiety, and poor focus. So nutrients like for sleep, you need magnesium and tryptophan. You're going to learn about that as you continue in your academics. Resilience and stress as well. So during stressful times, obviously things like your bioblast, they will have these like things like your zinc. They will have things like your B vitamins, but those things you can get from food. So if you eat a balanced diet, you get all those things, right? So the impact here is cognitive, is physical, is emotional as well. So nutrition affects these three things. So cognitive nutrition will affect the poor nutrition will make reduced attention span. Like some of you are sleeping now. So yeah, that both were awake. So poor working memory, right? If you can't memorize things, slower information processing. So one you know. So good nutrition will actually help with these things, which is information processing, because things like your mathematics, maths will require you to process enough, right? I think okunye leso senifundile guys. Right? Ngishawa isikhathi, ukubhala isikhathi la. But I want to take your questions as well, ne? Yeah. So physically, obviously standard growth, weakened immune system, and if you don't eat well, that means if flu is on kalula. If you have flu, you go to school, you have to be absent. So good nutrition will lower absenteeism as well. You see? Right. Emotionally, it will okay. So emotionally, you have increased risk of depression if you have poor nutrition, irritability as well. I think we've spoken about this, and mood instability, poor stress coping skills. So in education, it's a stressful environment because you have to move out of your comfort zone, right? You have sometimes you don't have to sleep in this so you need to cope well with this stress. Stress is not just right? It is when you are out of your comfort zone as well. Cool. So making food choices on a limited budget. So okay, you have things like your protein. The protein has actually in meat, in eggs. You also get it in your legumes and your beans, right? So instead of you beans also have a lot of protein, as well as some of the veggies like your spinach and there's green. They contain some protein in them. Choose things that are seasonal, right? You can't be eating grapes when it's not their season because they are more expensive, right? So right now oranges are in season, so it means you must capitalize on what? Oranges, nutties, those things that are high in vitamin C, right? So, and also seasonal foods help you to cope with the season itself, right? So right now, we have flu, we have colds and all that. So those things that are high in vitamin C will help with that. Drinking water instead of cold drinks or juices, whole grain starches. So instead of you eating white bread or why not rather eat brown bread that will keep you up until you eat at school? You understand? Right, so some of the things, let's pass. Okay. So these ones, okay. These are lifestyle diseases, guys. Let's keep quiet a bit. Right. So these are lifestyle conditions like your type 1, type 2 diabetes, obesity, hypertension, your anemia. So you must try and avoid these things. But maybe let me cover with anemia. So anemia, especially in ladies, and it's when you go through a menstrual cycle. You agree in that? So when you go through menstrual cycle, you lose some blood. So it's important that you get things that are higher in iron. So if you have things that are high in iron, then they will help you to make more blood. I want to speak the move. So that means it helps with making blood. So red meat, dark leafy vegetables like the spinach, like legumes, and also vitamin C to help with the absorption of the iron. So those things will help us to avoid the iron deficiency. Right. So let me end here with my presentation.